This evening, first deadly dispute. A young newlywed is killed in a hit-and-run on the east bank of the Demerara. Police says the suspect had a score to settle. Now he's behind bars and the victim's family is demanding justice. Plus, flight fake-out. AI-generated videos falsely claim major airlines are pulling out of Guyana. The Tourism Ministry sets the record straight and reveals just how strong the country's arrivals really are. Also, building Guyana's future, from green homes to 3D printing, inside the biggest construction showcase in the nation's history, the International Building Expo 2025. Meanwhile, prison to plate. Tilapia farming at the Timehri Female Prison is feeding the nation and changing lives. How inmates are reeling in skills and second chances. And the global push for peace. European leaders press Donald Trump to broker a deal that protects Ukraine and Europe's security. All this and more coming up on Headline News Update. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for August 14th, 2025. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a tragic hit-and-run in Supply on the east bank of the Demerara has left a young newlywed dead and a suicide man in police custody as investigators probe whether the fatal collision was a deliberate act stemming from a recent dispute. According to a report, the police are examining the suspected hit-and-run murder following the death of 23-year-old newlywed Alex Prasad of Timehri, East Bank Demerara, who was struck down on Wednesday, August 13, along the Supply Public Road. Investigations revealed that Prasad had just exited a vehicle when motor lorry GAC 5784, driven by 30-year-old David Ragnott of Suicide, collided with another lorry before hitting Prasad at high speed. The driver fled the scene, abandoning the lorry in Sarah Johanna. Prasad, who sustained severe head and body injuries, was rushed to the New Diamond Regional Hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. Relatives allege the collision was deliberate, citing a recent altercation between Prasad and Ragnott over an assault on Prasad's cousin. Both men were reportedly due in court next week over that matter. Raghu was arrested later that evening during a police operation at the Demerara Harbour Bridge overpass and remains in custody at the Providence police station as investigations continue. According to reports, Ragnott is no stranger to the law. Prasad's grieving family calls for justice for the young man whose life was cut short just weeks after his marriage. In other news, the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce has urged the public and media to ignore recently circulated AI-generated videos falsely claiming that major airlines have suspended flights to Guyana. The ministry confirmed that all scheduled airlines continue regular operations with no airline pulling out of the country. The ministry noted that Guyana's airlift remains strong, supported by growing arrivals. Between January and July of 2025, the country recorded over 242,000 visitor arrivals, an 18% increase compared to the same period in 2024. Officials emphasize that the videos are entirely fabricated and do not reflect the nation's tourism or aviation reality. The ministry reassured the public that Guyana continues to maintain solid airline partnerships, expand routes, and attract strong regional and international interest. Travelers are encouraged to rely on official sources for accurate and up-to-date information regarding travel to and from Guyana. Moving on. The National Stadium in Providence on the east bank of Demerara is hosting Ghana's most significant construction and innovation showcase as the International Building Expo 2025 officially opened today. Running until Sunday, August 17th, the event carries the theme, The Road to Success, Guyana 2030 and Beyond. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell described this year's expo as the largest, most inclusive, and transformative building expo yet, with nearly 400 booths featuring hardware suppliers, banks, insurance companies, contractors, and other industry stakeholders. He emphasized that the expo is more than an exhibition. It is a natural conversation about a national. He emphasized that the expo is more than an exhibition. It is a national conversation about Guyana's future. First launched in 2010 by President Dr. Mohamed Irfan while serving as Housing Minister, the Building Expo was suspended in 2015 but revived in 2022 and keeps getting bigger every year. Over the years, the Expo has promoted green construction, prefabricated homes using recycled materials, and 3D printed housing solutions. It has also fostered international trade, including the sale of 120 housing units to Ghana and the launch of the Sustainable Silica City Urban Initiative. The Expo provides essential services to the public, including distribution of house lots and land titles. In 2024, 2,000 house lots and 1,500 land titles were handed over, with another 2,000 land titles set for distribution this year. Banks on site are offering financing opportunities to attendees. Minister Crowell emphasized that at its core, the Building Expo invests in people, preparing the next generation of architects, planners, technicians, and innovators to lead Guyana towards 2030 and beyond. Stick around when we return. Elderly woman achieves a 30-year dream home through the Men on a Mission, and Guyana Prison Service showcases tilapia farming success at Timehri facility.
Man, why the two of y'all look so gloomy?
Uncle Joe, you know thief man been in we house and thief all we valuables, including we ID card. Now election come around and we want to go vote. We ain't get no ID card to identify ourselves. Now we can't go vote.
Well, you need to apply to GCOM to have your ID cards replaced. But you need not worry that you won't be able to vote because you don't have your ID cards. GCOM has put other measures in place to accurately identify voters like you who may not have the ID cards.
But how they gonna do that? How they gonna know is we name on the list if we don't have ID to prove it?
In addition to your ID card, voters can present their valid passports or valid driver's license if they have these.
Really?
But further, GCOM has placed your photograph alongside your name on a folio which will be at the polling station. And if you go to the polling station without a photo ID, you will be asked to state your name and address. The elections official will look at your face and then compare it with the photo alongside your name on the folio to confirm that they are the same. Then you'll have to answer some questions to verify your identity. If the election official is satisfied that you are the person who you claim to be, you will be allowed to vote after taking an oath of identity.
So you get to vote?
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. In a push to strengthen Guyana's food security while promoting inmate rehabilitation, the Guyana Prison Service is reaping success from its tilapia farming program at the Timehri Female Prison. turning correctional spaces into hubs of productivity and skill development. Highlighting its growing role in the country's food security efforts, the prison service is producing 148 pounds of red tilapia at the Timehri Female Prison. The initiative, supported by both inmates and staff, is part of a broader program to equip prisoners with practical skills for life after incarceration. Director of Prisons, Nicola Elliott, said the project reflects the Guyana Prison Service's commitment to rehabilitation through skill building, expanding opportunities for inmates to engage in productive work. Launched in June of 2002 by the Satwade Saw Agriculture Station, the tilapia farming program has already yielded over 1,000 pounds of fish, with female inmates showing strong interest in participating. Elliott noted that such projects not only support national food self-sufficiency, but also helps inmates discover new talents and prepare for reintegration into society. As the tilapia farming initiative continues to grow, the Guyana Prison Service is proving that rehabilitation and national development can go hand in hand, transforming lives behind bars while contributing meaningfully to the nation's goal of self-sustainability. On a different note, the printed ballot papers for Guyana's September 1st general and regional elections arrived in the country on Tuesday. This was confirmed by the Guyana Elections Commissioner, Says Conraj. The ballots are currently being processed at GCOM under the oversight of political parties and election observers. The timely delivery is critical, especially with early voting by joint services scheduled for August 22nd. The shipment also included statements of poll forms and tally sheets, all printed at Canadian banknotes in Calgary, Canada. Opposition-nominated Commissioner Vincent Alexander noted that the number of ballots printed usually exceeds the voter count, ensuring each polling station has extra paper. GCOM officials maintain that all preparations are on schedule, with ballots and supporting documents ready to ensure a smooth and transparent electoral process. With the arrival and processing of the ballots, statements of polls and tally sheets, GCOM is moving closer to ensuring a transparent and orderly September 1st election. Officials emphasize that all measures are in place to facilitate a smooth voting process, providing confidence to voters and stakeholders alike as Ghana prepares for its upcoming general and regional elections. In other news, after a 30-year wait filled with setbacks and perseverance, a 72-year-old woman's dream of home ownership has finally come true with the President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali's Men on a Mission initiative. After 3 decades of waiting, Angela Emmanuel of Vigilance East Coast Demerara is now the proud owner of her own home on Tuesday at Vigilance along the east coast of Demerara. Emmanuel, who applied for a house lot in 1992 and received it in 2020, was unable to build due to financial constraints. Despite numerous setbacks, including failing attempts to access turnkey housing and limited support from financing agencies, she never gave up on her goal. Living in her niece's poorly ventilated apartment, Emmanuel eventually sought assistance from the Men on a Mission, which constructed her new home. The project has given her independence, financial relief from rent, and the opportunity to start planting crops in her yard. Launched in 2022, the Men on a Mission initiative has been providing housing and other support to vulnerable individuals and communities across Guyana. Ms. Emmanuel's story is a testament to resilience and transformative impact of community-driven initiatives as Men on a Mission continue to change lives, one home and one dream at a time. Don't go away after the break. Chile battles textile waste with new producer recycling law, and wildfires scorch Greece as heatwave grips part of Europe.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from modern optical services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. How smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
What's going on here, man? Why the two of y'all look so gloomy?
Uncle Joe, you know thief man been in we house and thief all we valuables, including we ID card. Now election come wrong and we want to go vote. We ain't get no ID card to identify ourselves. Now we can't go vote.
Well, you need to apply to GCOM to have your ID cards replaced. But you need not worry that you won't be able to vote because you don't have your ID cards. GCOM has put other measures in place to accurately identify voters like you who may not have the ID cards.
But how they gonna do that? How they gonna know is we name on the list if we don't have ID to prove it?
In addition to your ID card, voters can present their valid passports or valid driver's license if they have these.
Really?
But further, GCOM has placed your photograph alongside your name on a folio which will be at the polling station. And if you go to the polling station without a photo ID, you will be asked to state your name and address. The elections official will look at your face and then compare it with the photo alongside your name on the folio to confirm that they are the same. Then you'll have to answer some questions to verify your identity. If the election official is satisfied that you are the person who you claim to be, you will be allowed to vote after taking an oath of identity.
So you get for vote?
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I am Nikita Ford. Welcome to our regional and international news segment, which keeps you informed and up to date with a trending news story worldwide. The U.S. has revoked visas for Brazilian, African, and Caribbean officials over alleged ties to Cuban's forced labor. Medical missions include Brazil Maias Medicos program. Secretary of State Marco Rubio accused them of aiding Havana forced labor expo scheme, while Cuba dismissed the move as politically motivated and vowed to continue its mission. Parts of the desert in northern Chile has become textile graveyards, the final resting place for tons of illegally dumped, unwanted clothes. Al Jazeera Lucia Newman reports.
Tons of textile residue cakes the ground of the Atacama Desert in northern Chile. Some is still distinguishable, but most has been destroyed by slum dwellers who are paid a pittance to burn it in these illegal dumping grounds. Chile imports more than 120,000 tons of second-hand clothes, most of which arrives at the duty-free zone in the port of Iquique. The best bits are re-exported or sold to stores, but much of what's in these bags is worthless. What can't be sold in this second-hand clothes market in Alto Hospicio is disposed of in the desert.
Sadly, it contaminates the environment. We should have a place to put all this, or a way to recycle it.
Fortunately, a solution is in the making. Day and night, workers sort through tons of second-hand clothes at this importer, taking care to separate the least valuable items so they can be reborn as a key component of spring mattresses.
It's a model that's existed in Turkey for more than 25 years, and it's 100% an example of a circular economy. We're generating jobs and at the same time a new product. We already have orders from abroad.
In the middle of the desert, the Recitex factory is being built at lightning speed. It should be ready to start producing insular layers for mattresses by November, while the raw material piles up.
There is everything you can possibly imagine here, from shorts to jogging pants, underwear, This leather jacket, for example, all of this weighs 15 tons, and it's just a tiny portion of what's thrown into the desert. When you spread it out, it would cover something like 200 acres.
This and other recycling projects are springing up out of enlightened self-interest, made necessary by Chile's new producer responsibility law.
Any person or company that produces or imports textiles must register in the Pollutant Emissions and Transfer Registry. They are obliged to recycle an estimated percentage of the waste they import.
The law will require certification that an increasingly large percentage of textile waste is indeed being recycled, a method that will hopefully transform rubbish into riches. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Alto Hospicio, Chile.
At least 7,500 people have been forced to leave their home near the Greek city of Patra to escape the wildfires. Al Jazeera Felix Niawara reports.
Clouds of smoke swirl above hills in the Greek island of Zakynthos as winds fuel multiple fires across the country. On the Peloponnese Peninsula, at least a dozen villages have been evacuated near the city of Patra. Wildfires continue to scorch various parts across the country, and it's being blamed on climate change. In Spain's region of Galicia, an eerily similar hazy sunset. Low rainfall and strong winds have made firefighting efforts more difficult. Residents who've escaped the blaze say that while many lives have been spared, the losses incurred keep mounting.
I'm so sorry because there are lots of animals up there that will also get burned and no one could find them.
Scientists say global warming is causing intense bouts of dry summers in southern Europe. Temperatures have gone well above 40 degrees Celsius this year. That's made the region more vulnerable to wildfires that have been surging with each new year. And that has brought previously unseen dangers to areas such as the Albanian town of Delvina.
I have lived here for 65 years, and this is the first time we have seen fires in all parts of the city.
In Turkey's western province of Izmir, a large-scale mobilization also underway to contain on and off fires that have characterized the summer in what's being called the world's fastest warming region. Felix Nyawara, Al Jazeera.
The German chancellor said that Europe leaders have urged Donald Trump to work towards peace that protect Europe and Ukraine's security interests. Al Jazeera's Steph Vesent reports.
Surprise guest in Berlin, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky traveled to the German capital to join Chancellor Friedrich Merz on a video call with European leaders and US President Donald Trump. The show of European unity with Ukraine shows how concerned leaders are ahead of Friday's talks in Alaska, for which none of them are invited.
I told the US President and all our European colleagues that Putin is bluffing. He's trying to put pressure before the meeting in Alaska along all of the Ukrainian front. Russia is trying to show that it can occupy all of Ukraine. Of course, this is their desire.
Trump agreeing to the hour-long meeting with European leaders and Zelensky is seen as a small victory after relations turned sour at the start of Trump's second term a few months ago.
We've made it clear that Ukraine must be at the table as soon as follow-up meetings take place. We want the negotiations to proceed in the right order. A ceasefire must come first. Essential elements should then be agreed upon in a framework agreement. Finally, thirdly, Ukraine is prepared to negotiate on territorial issues. However, the so-called contact line must be the starting point. Legal recognition of Russian occupations is not up for debate.
Merz said that Trump largely shared the same views and promised to call them immediately after his meeting with Putin, which will take place at the Elmendorf-Richardson Air Base in Anchorage.
I'm going to call President Zelensky, and then I'll call, probably in that order, the leaders. There's a very good chance that we're going to have a second meeting, which will be more productive than the first, because the first is I'm going to find out where we are and what we're doing.
Merz said the leaders wished Trump good luck on Friday and that they hope his peace efforts will succeed.
This was a last-minute attempt to get Donald Trump's ear before he goes into a room with President Putin to discuss the future of Ukraine and of Europe. A nerve-wracking thought not only for President Zelensky but also for the European leaders, who can now only hope that the American president won't rush into promises or even a deal without consulting them. Step Fasten, Al Jazeera, Berlin.
Thanks, Nikita. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's Safe TV2 Headline News for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.